I'm also curious what your guys' favorite unreleased song is and why.
Yeah.
So drop a comment if you made it this far. Hopefully, thumbs up. Let us know that we should keep doing these. What's up, YouTube? Back with another Beers and Bars video. I'm Casey.
Mrs. Court.
And today we're not reacting, just so we get it like right ahead of the thing. We don't want you to think this is clickbait or anything like that. Because YouTube doesn't like reactors going at some of these unreleased songs from like Juice WRLD, stuff like that. We figured we'd try something a little different today. We're going to try and do what we're going to call rap chats, where we talk about some of the different artists that we've been listening to, a little podcast style. We got some questions written down to ask ourselves, to ask you guys, so we can get a better understanding of, in this case, it's going to be Juice WRLD. We just got done listening to Flight to London, the Mother Russia unreleased that you guys have been hitting us up to test out. So we got some topics to cover for that song specifically. I'm sure all of you guys have heard it already. We just heard it.
Had to, yeah.
Pretty legit. So yeah, I think we'll start out by saying, like, I think personally, that this is like a little peek behind the curtain and how Juice WRLD makes a song.
Yes, it is a way. You know, it's him just chefing something up in the lab, and that's what this seems like right here. You know, it just seems like he's creating, like, and it also seems like it's something that is on the verge of being finished, but not yet finished. It just needed just this little this and like little that.
Right. Yeah. And so it definitely seemed like, like he got in the booth, like you're saying, and then he was like just putting down like a bunch of verses, right?
Yeah.
So he's writing a bunch of verses out, and he's testing a bunch of verses, and he's just like spitting them off the top of his head. And then later on, he's going to go and decide what he wants to use, because the hook, I love that hook too.
Yeah. Like, that hook was off the chain. You know, it's talking about AK is a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Got that like, AK from Russia.
Like coming
Shoot
up in
it, then
London.
go fuck your mother.
Right, yeah. And so, like, and the beat goes hard, right?
Of course.
But the hook seemed real polished. Like the hook was done, right? And so it seems like it maybe, I know like a lot of you guys in the comments, you've been telling us like, he'll go in the booth, he'll like record like 50 things, and then he'll say, use what you want. This kind of seems like somebody took some of those verses that he wrote, right? Or like that he just spit like off the top and put them in to fit inside of the beat and with the hook that he's got put on there.
Yeah. Because if you think about it too, maybe he was going to use a whole flight to London and write like all these different verses about it. Like it could have been, you know, about London. Like he could have actually like touched on what was going on, the landscape, the people, or just like whatever, you know. So this could have been a totally different song, and that hook right there, he could have just took it. Okay, I'm gonna fit it with this right here.
Yep.
And then maybe the verses that he was spitting over it, maybe he could say, hey, I'm gonna take this verse, I'm gonna use it on this cut, I'm gonna take the second verse and maybe use it over here or whatever. Right. So this pretty well could be the case.
That would seem to be like a pretty good like way to go about, especially the way he was like doing his music, right? Because he doesn't do a whole lot of pen writing from what I've seen.
Yeah.
But he is able to come in, drop a bunch of verses. Somebody comes in, puts the best ones together, makes a good song out of it.
Yeah, it's true.
And then we get something like this. Now, what I wonder is if like how close this would have been done, like this was to being done, or if somebody, because it's been a couple of years now, right? So like, or did somebody just take what they have in the vault, like the 2,000 or 3,000, whatever songs it is, right? Piece them together, and then they're just continuous to leak stuff.
Yeah, because if you notice, there's a lot of unreleased Juice out there, like just like floating around. And even after listening to this, if you scroll down more, you're seeing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more unreleased songs from Juice. You know, so it is weird. It's, you know, it is probably somebody out there that's just like, okay, I'm just gonna like let this ride. I'm gonna let that ride or whatever. Right.
And we know that you guys have said like Little Bibby, his manager, owns all these things. Is he the one leaking them? That's like another big question. Like, who is doing the leaking? Right? Like, is it his man or like his old manager or his partner or whatever Little Bibby was to him?
Yeah. Because like you got to think, you know, songs like these, like they are tied up in the vault somewhere,
right?
And the only ones that could get to it is obviously people that were close to Juice, people who were producing, people who were engineering. You know, these are the ones that could get into it. Like, it's not going to be like some old, like Joe Smo off the street,
right?
That could just.
I mean, because let's be real. If somebody were to have hacked the vault, right, they're going to release them all at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're going to sell it. They're going to sell the vault. They're not going to, because if you got access to that vault, you can't make money off of it on like YouTube because you don't own the rights.
Yeah.
So when you leak something, the rights still go to Little Bibby, or YouTube just takes it down. One of the two, right? So the fact is, like, somebody close to him has to be leaking these things. Has to have access in some way to them to leak them. And I hope that they're leaking it. Leaking being the word, right? But I hope they're releasing / leaking it so that Juice's name kind of lives on.
Yeah.
As opposed to doing it in some sort of malicious way.
Yeah, that's right. And it's like one other thing that you will hope as well, because Juice, he put his heart and soul into this music. So you will hope that the Juice estate is reaping some benefit from this too as well. Family. And I hope it's not, just, the people who were close to him that's just trying to take advantage, like, which I would like never wish that. And I know that something like that like wouldn't be happening though, but I'm just hoping that, the right people are actually receiving, the benefits from this.
Of course. Yeah. And that's kind of like one of the questions I had for like the comment section. Like what is it that, like, who's getting the benefits of these leaks? Yeah. Because like we did that 38 special one and we got a ton of warnings from you guys. Appreciate that. Because we didn't realize that like YouTube hates on these unreleased things. I figured if it's clean played on YouTube, I don't understand why YouTube like cracks down so hard on it, but I guess they do. So yeah, that is what it is. But like, if they're coming out like that and they're being leaked and stuff like that, what is it that, like, who is making the money? Like that was like the big thing, is like, who is getting like the royalties for all these unreleased songs that are coming out?
Okay, and it all comes down to this too. Record companies, hey, there's a lot of shady stuff going on behind the scenes.
For sure.
So I would say, hey, whoever owns these masters, and you would hope that Juice had some type of power in that, because like if he owned the masters, then obviously his mom or some of his relatives is going to receive the benefit from that.
Yeah.
But if it's the other way around, if it's the record company manager, if it's like whoever else, like who's in that line to get money, like from the label,
right?
Like those are the ones that's getting it, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. So let's switch gears just a little bit. So this song specifically, right? Flight to London. Obviously, like the beat in this hits real hard, right?
Yeah, it does.
That
definitely.
Thing, I was like, man, this is like one of those like banger beats, right? Like when you're just bumping it in the car real loud.
Yeah.
Now, what did you think of like the finished product that it's?
Yeah. Okay. And I'm glad that you touched on finished product, because, just like how we kind of stated earlier, it's really, it doesn't sound finished.
Right.
It sounds like there's more work to be done. It's a dope track. It's like a really great rendition, and it just really makes you wonder, damn, what the absolute, like, no kidding, this is done, what that would actually sound like. And I bet that would be off the chain.
And that's one of the things that we talked about when we did 38 Special, right?
Yeah.
This 38 Special, I was like holding my ear. I'm like, what is he saying? Yeah. Because some of it was like not edited well or not mastered well. Like the finished product isn't there. And that's one of the things about some of these unreleased ones. It's like, yeah, they could have been absolutely fire. Like this one probably would have, just because that hook on this is like super catchy, right?
Oh yeah.
And you would have definitely been like, yeah, I could bump this in my car. I could keep listening to this. I could like go ham with this one, right?
Oh yeah.
But because the verses then come in, and like one of them I know sounded like almost like it was like over auto-tuned, or like
it did in a way,
over like produced, so then it was kind of hard to hear. Like I listened to it with these headphones, I listened to it with my AirPods, I listened to it in my car, and in every situation it was it was just hard to understand what he was saying at times, which isn't usually the case. Like when we watched like the Westwood one, like that was crisp, right? When he did the fire in the booth, that was super crisp. Wishing
like
Well was super crisp.
Yep.
right? Any of his actual released ones. Some
Mhm.
of the ones that are coming out soon.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for like all of those, like that's one of the big things about these leaks is as cool as it is that we get to keep hearing more Juice and newer stuff, like
Mhm.
even after he's gone, right? It kind of sucks that I wish whoever was releasing these would just go get them mastered.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just, I'm like, especially to pay tribute to Juice in the right way.
Right.
You know, I think that honestly, like that would be, you know, the best way to honor him. It's just to, okay, let's take these tracks and let's really polish them up. I'm like, not change the beats or anything, but I'm talking just polish it up, make it sound clear and
do
crisp.
what you would have done,
you know? Exactly.
if he was still alive and you were going to release this as an actual song.
Exactly.
Right? Because this is, in my mind, this is clearly like the peek behind the curtain of how he made songs. Right?
Yeah.
He gets on the beat and he makes a fire hook.
Yeah.
And it sounds polished. And then he goes in the next day and he just sits there spitting verses.
Yeah.
Until he gets one that's like what we all want to hear.
Exactly. And like, to be honest, like this is what like a lot of artists do. Like anybody, you know, I mean, for any genre too as well. It's just like bits and pieces. It's like, hey, I like that. Hey, let's go ahead and take this and make this to this song. And like a lot of people do that. Like we hear that from the Pacs, you know, I don't know, the Kendricks, the Nas's, whatever. I mean, like I'm all of them do stuff like this, and like you can imagine, Juice is like, okay, you know what? I am going to go ahead. I'm gonna rip this right here, and then hey, we'll just like name it later, or we'll just take a little piece of it and just do this or that. Yeah,
definitely. And so that is one of the things that leads me down the path that I think it's less than legit.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you were given an estate, right, after somebody passed, and you're like, in order to like maintain that person's legacy, you needed to maintain that estate. Right?
Exactly.
And in this case, his estate was that vault of 2,000 unreleased songs or whatever, right?
Exactly.
You would do everything in your power to make them as good as possible before releasing them out to the public.
Yeah.
Make them as close to the real thing as possible.
Exactly.
And so I'm not trying to call anybody out, but it is weird to me that they just randomly get leaked on the internet, unless somebody else magically has access and is just like messing with people and is leaking them.
Yeah.
Or the person who is managing them just doesn't know any better.
Yeah. And then also there's other stuff out there too that I've noticed, you know, with like all kinds of different artists. So because I've seen it with DMX too. There is these songs coming up with, hey, featuring Method Man and Nas and stuff like that. And like none of that stuff really happened.
Right.
And so I'm wondering if this is like the same thing with Juice. They're taking, you know, that chorus that he had, you know, for Flight to London, and then just putting it over some other stuff that Juice was spitting. So it just like really like makes you wonder. I'm like, it really does go deep. Like there is a lot of questions, you know, when I listen to this. It's, you know, because I was thinking about this jam, just like the title too. I'm thinking, you know, just like how I was saying earlier, I wonder if he might have written something that was dedicated to London. You know, the culture, the people, you know, just the overall city, just the experience of London. Exactly. Exactly. And it just makes you wonder.
That, and then somebody came along and was like, oh, I have all these other verses and I'm just going to slap them onto here. Right. Because it's weird that it's like talking about Mother Russia and then a flight to London. That is a little like, I mean, you can throw some bars in like, cool, but it doesn't jive. Right. Like, so
exactly.
That is interesting.
And that's where I'm at with it right now.
Yeah. So comments, I'm sure you guys know because you guys know everything about Juice. Let us know, first of all, what you guys think about us doing these podcast types of things.
Yeah.
Give us some topics if you guys want us to. Some more unreleased ones, if that's the route you want us to go down, and we can talk about the unreleased songs, stuff like that. I'm also curious what your guys' favorite unreleased song is and why.
Yeah.
So drop a comment. If you made it this far, hopefully thumbs up. Let us know that we should keep doing these. Because we were thinking about doing them for other artists as well. Just because a lot of times when we're at barbecues and stuff like that. Obviously, we're not listening to the song while we're talking about it.
Yeah.
We're just talking about our favorite artists. So we figure like, hey, we can just do a little podcast style, talk about some of these awesome artists that we've been introduced to. Maybe go a little bit behind the scenes. We'll watch something before we come here, have a little homework session, like write something out or whatever, have some notes, and then we'll come and bring it to you guys. And then we'll see what your guys' take is on the artists that we're listening to, and we'll give you what we think. So then we can interact with you guys a little bit more, get a better understanding of like what you guys like and why you like some of the Juice WRLD's music or NF's music or JID or whoever it is that we're talking about that week. And maybe we'll do one of these a week as well or every other week. And we'll continue obviously doing reactions to everybody. But yeah, just let us know what you think.
Yeah.
What you think, Court?
No,
what questions you got for them? Anything?
Oh, no, man. It's just like we hit it all.
Well,
yeah.
As always, Juice had buzzworthy bars in this track, Flight to London. And we're going to keep on doing the grind. But,
yes, definitely.
Next time, maybe we'll put out a poll and ask you guys which songs we should react to, because we're about to start reacting right now.
Yep. All right, y'all.
Peace.
Next time.